Hi everyone. Lovely to see so many faces on screen. I'm sure one day we'll all be doing these in person again, maybe. But it's so great to be here. Thanks for having me. My name's Dan Cudmore. I'm from an organisation called Big Health, but I'm here to talk today about two digital treatments called Daylight, which is for worry and anxiety, and also Sleepio, which is for poor sleep and insomnia. They are both available to all adults who are living in Scotland, and I'll talk more about them in the moment and why in a moment and why Scotland is kind of leading the way on digital mental health really for the rest of the UK, because both of these treatments aren't available across the other areas of the UK, and so Scotland is really trailblazing from a kind of computerized cognitive behavioral therapy and digital mental health treatment perspective, which is great. So I'm just going to share my screen now as I've got some slides to run through. Hopefully you guys will all be able to see this when I do so. Can I just get a thumbs up if you guys can see it? Thanks, Kate. Fantastic. So I'm just going to run through a few things to start with. So we'll do some introductions very quickly to Big Health and then both treatments. There's a few kind of facts and figures and stuff as we go through, but please feel free to put questions in the chat as we go, and we'll come back to them at the end once the guys from NHS Lothian have presented too. So feel free to pop them in the chat. And we'll make sure we get back to them at the end, if that's okay. So who are we? Who are Big Health? So this is Colin, Professor Colin Espy. He's our co-founder. He is a proud Scot. He started out as a clinical psychologist over in Lanarkshire. And he's the man behind Sleepio. In some circles, he's known as the godfather of sleep, believe it or not. He wrote a book called Overcoming Insomnia. And another Brit, a guy from somewhere in the midst of England, read it, and he pestered Peter for weeks and weeks and weeks, and said, I've got to come and talk to you. You've cured my insomnia. We need to help more people. So he got the train all the way up to meet Colin, and Big Health was born basically. And the two of them kind of set Big Health up. And kind of also went over to the States to kind of set it up to get the tech right and get all the technology sorted. So although we have roots over in the US, we are very much a British or Scottish founded organization, which is great. And Colin's pride and joy is the fact that Sleepio and Daylight are both available on the NHS in Scotland. So that is a real watershed moment. Scotland actually the first country to commission digital therapeutics nationwide, which is absolutely amazing. And we launched nationally on the 1st of September 2021 to the entire nation. Some very quick introductions. You'll see my mug at the bottom there, but this is also Josie and Greg. They're part of the engagement team. I won't read through all the details. Greg is also a proud Scot. He's based up in Dumbarton. So lots of great links up in Scotland where we've really, started to embed our work. And also Josie, who works on the clinical side of our work. She's our clinical lead, so she's working with lots of primary care practitioners and GPs and nurses and things like that to kind of embed Daylight and Sleepio in clinical networks. So onto the treatments themselves. I'm going to talk first about Daylight on the left-hand side. So Daylight is a treatment for anxiety and worry. It was created with leading researchers from King's College London and University College London. It guides people in 4 cognitive behavioral therapy techniques that are chosen specifically to treat anxiety and worry. So they're techniques that we would say have a large effect size. You can feel them working as you're doing them. So I'll run through what they are in a minute. But this is it's an app on your phone, and it's all about in the moment support. Bite-sized kind of techniques and tools to help someone manage their worry or their anxiety in the moment. And it's specifically for generalized anxiety disorder. So it doesn't target social anxiety disorder, PTSD, or anything like that. It's specifically for generalized anxiety disorder. So lots of people use this maybe when they're going off to do the school run, or if they've just had a really stressful instance at work, or things like that. And over 3/4 of people actually practice the techniques outside of the app as well. So it's all about giving someone the tools that they need to manage their worry and anxiety. And moving over to the right is Sleepio. So this is based on Professor Espy, who you've already met, his kind of 30-year clinical and research career. This is a little bit more traditional format of cognitive behavioral therapy. So there's 20-minute sessions over 6 weeks. And you can kind of take part in them at your own pace, but they're broadly designed to be weekly sessions. And as part of the program, as part of that CBT program, you'll also get access to a range of expert sleep guides, and there's an online community where people can interact as well. So these two kind of entities, as you can see, both treatments are available via an app on your phone. You can also access Sleepio on the desktop, on a laptop, or via a web browser too. So that's the two treatments. I'm going to delve into a little bit more detail, and I'm not going to hang around, guys. So I'm going to whiz through and very much give a whistle stop tour. You will get slides at the end, and I'm always here if there's further questions, so I'll make sure you get my contact details. But I'm going to whiz through because I'm really keen for you guys to get to the questions. So starting with daylight specifically, and we're going to talk a little bit about anxiety and worry, and you guys will know this, but everyone has their own words for stress and anxiety, and I'm sure that many of you are working with service users who you see this every day, and you might be experiencing some of this a little bit yourself. I know I certainly am, with everything that's going on in the world at the moment. I wanted to also kind of debunk some myths around anxiety, and the first one is that anxiety, is bad, that it's something we need to get rid of. And this graph, although it looks quite complex, there's lots going on here. Actually, what we're seeing is that too little stress can lead to us kind of being a bit inactive or laid back. And this is evidence-based kind of research that showed this. So as stress goes up, there is an optimum amount of stress. It's possible to get that right amount that makes us perform kind of well or do what we need to. However, too much stress leads to this overload and burnout, and we start to see that performance kind of drop off towards the end. So there's lots to kind of bear in mind here, but anxiety is not always a bad thing. Stress is not always a bad thing. Okay, there is an optimum level of stress, but we can start to get, the more stress that we get, that's when we lead to anxiety and panic and anger and all of those kind of things starting to come through. The second myth I wanted to debunk is that anxiety is rare, and that is not true either. Anxiety is one of the most predominant mental health problems worldwide. It is a feeling of unease, such as worry or fear. It can be mild or severe, and everyone will experience these feelings at some point. People can kind of experience physical, psychological, and behavioural symptoms of anxiety when they feel anxious or stressed. That's things like heart rate going up, feeling sick, wanting to run away, avoidance of stressful situations. And it affects about 6% of the population within a given week. So, it is quite common. And I'm sure that although this 6% is those diagnosed with clinical generalized anxiety disorder, actually people experiencing these symptoms will be much, much higher. And during the pandemic, this was really, really evident. Like, I think around 50% of the population reported feelings of anxiety during the pandemic. So the third myth I just wanted to bust is based around daylight specifically. And you can see here on the right-hand side, a randomized controlled trial that was conducted in 2020 using daylight saw 71% of participants move from clinical levels of anxiety to non-clinical levels of anxiety. So that was quite pleasing for us to see that. And obviously the key thing to say about daylight and Sleepio, when I come onto it, is it's really evidence-based. It's all about kind of, we evidence is at the heart of what we do, and we've got about 13 randomized controlled trials that sit behind the treatments, as well as over 50 published papers on each of them. So we're really, really keen to make sure that that evidence base is there, and daylight is something that is no different to that. I'm going to whiz through and just show a quick video actually of daylight. I hope you can all hear the audio. I'm sure you can, and I'm not going to show the full video. I'm just going to play for a minute or so, but this is Keris. She's a neonatal nurse at a hospital in England, and she's been using daylight.
Even the first day I used daylight, my outlook completely changed because I finally felt like I'd found something. I'd found something that worked for me and was gonna keep working. So my name's Keris, I'm 21. I work in a neonatal intensive care unit. I've gone from looking after elderly adults, all sorts like heart attack patients, to premature babies that are like the size of my hand. I hold them in one hand sometimes. So it's been quite a huge jump, but I'm really enjoying it. I probably started really struggling in my second year of uni. COVID had hit, I was starting to write my dissertation, and also working full time. There was just so many factors and it was really stressful. The peak of my anxiety was probably in my third year of university. I was on placement working on winter pressure wards. I was on my own as a student looking after patients until we could find someone else. And I had a panic attack at work in like the IV medicine room. I started to think maybe this is more like a condition where I have anxiety sort of all the time, and I need more help to support that. So I had heard of daylight, and then I got the opportunity to try it. It sort of came at really the right time. I tried it out, shared my thoughts, shared a few videos on social media talking about it. It asked me questions that were relevant, and then gave me techniques that were relevant. It wasn't like, do you feel anxious? 1 to 10, like, you just press like smiley face, sad face. It almost felt like the app talks to you. I felt like I was talking to someone and they were asking me questions because it's very personalized. You have to write your responses, and the voice is like really therapeutic. It talks to you. It's not like clinical looking. It's really like just calming to look at. The best thing about my experience with daylight has been that after one session of using it, when I first got the app, I instantly felt so much better.
Good stuff. I will share the full videos, guys, with you so you can have a good look at them. But I just wanted to play that very briefly. So I'm just going to pull and leave this on screen just very quickly. This is how you access daylight. You can simply access using the link, or if you've got your phone, you can hold it up to the screen now and scan the QR code. So I'll leave it there for 30 seconds or so. Just in case, but it is as simple. If you want to try it out, or you want to provide access to service users, you just need the link. Someone goes on, they sign up at the link, and then they download the app, and they can use and start therapy right away. So that is how you access daylight. I'll leave it up there for 5 more seconds, and I'm going to really speedily whiz through Sleepio. So just a quick introduction to insomnia. I mentioned that anxiety was common, but insomnia is actually the most common mental health complaint in the UK. Insomnia is difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, even when a person has the chance to do so. And that results in poor quality sleep and some form of daytime impairment. So people think of insomnia as a nighttime problem, but it's really not. It's a daytime problem. It affects people's daytime function too, and that is something that we hear quite a lot. It feels like severe fatigue, low energy, low motivation. People experience difficulty in concentrating and decreased performance in work or at school. And chronic insomnia, so that's long-term insomnia, affects about 10% of the population, but insomnia symptoms affect up to 40% of the population at any one time. So what is Sleepio? Sleepio, again, is instant access to digital therapy. It's an online sleep improvement program, and it's slightly personalized. So you, using the app, enter your sleep diary every day. That gives us enough data to suggest different cognitive behavioral techniques based on your sleeping patterns. So if you're someone that has trouble getting off to sleep, that might be because you have racing mind, or that your thoughts are keeping you awake. So the technique that you'll get through the course will be different depending on if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have trouble on that side of things. So lots of sort of personalized information there. It has three main components. There is a sleep score at the start when you go on and sign up. As I've mentioned, there's lots of expert sleep content online, sleep guides and things like that. I'll talk about more in a moment. And then there's the full program of the kind of 6 weeks that you do as part of the program. The guides are things around shift work, if you're a new parent, sleep basics, jet lag, lots more resources online for people to utilize. And there are 6 structured sessions within the cognitive behavioral therapy program. I'm not going to talk too much about them in detail, but weeks 1 and 2 are very introductory, lots of sleep hygiene, which is kind of lifestyle and getting your bedroom ready for sleep and just making sure that you're doing the basics. Week 3 is really where the kind of cognitive behavioral stuff starts. And we see our remission rates, that's people recovering from insomnia, really shoot up if they complete weeks 2 and weeks 3. So there is an element here where starting session 1 is great, but if someone can get to session 3, you're likely to see really, really good outcomes for service users and for patients. Week 4 looks, again, depending on the priorities, based on the information that's input to the treatment. There are a few different cognitive techniques that come out of week 4 and week 5. And then week 6 is a kind of graduation and a review of the goals and reinforcing that motivation. I've got some user quotes. I will share a video with you. I didn't want to show 2 videos today, but I will share some quotes around sort of just what patients have said. And we've got lots and lots of people using Sleepio. In the UK, over 150,000 people have now used it. And in terms of accessing, again, it's really simple. I'll leave this up for 30 seconds. The link is there. It's very similar to the Daylight link, sleepio.com/NHS. Again, if you want to scan the QR code, you can. So I'll just leave it up for 20 more seconds. And I've got one more slide, and then I'll hand over to Niall and Avril from NHS Lothian. Okay, so there are some additional resources. I know we've got lots of organisations on the call that are potentially might find these useful to signpost people to. We do have a how to refer page online, and this contains lots of resources that you might be able to find useful for signposting. So it's simply bighealth.com/how to refer. I'll put up a QR code in a second, but all the information is there, and as soon as you land there, there's a button that says I work in the community. There's also a clinical section if you're more clinical focused, but lots of resources. We produce kind of monthly campaign materials around back to school over the summer. There is the clock change, which we know can disrupt people's sleep and their worry and anxiety, and lots of kind of awareness, general awareness campaigns. So let me leave the QR code there for another 30 seconds, but then I'll stop sharing and hand over to Niall and Avril. Brill. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm going to stop sharing there. As I say, you will get a copy of the slides, so keep an eye out for those.
I'm just going to unmute myself a second, Dan. This is Katrina Smith, one of the public health practitioners at Health Social Care Partnership. Thanks, Dan. I'm sorry that my voice is a bit croaky. Just going to mention just a quite important comment about costs, and just so that everybody's really clear that this is free to anyone in Scotland. So as soon as you put in your postcode and it's a Scottish postcode, you're not going to be charged anything at all. Okay. And there was another question in there. about referral, and just to say if there are any clinicians on this call, there is a separate program of work going on with the digital therapist team within NHS. So they work with clinicians about referring their patients to this treatment, but it is also completely open access. You could just click and sign up today, either you or anyone you're supporting. Yeah.
No cost to accessing either of those treatments. They are, thanks to a partnership with the Scottish Government, they're both fully funded for the entire adult population of Scotland. And there's no way that anyone can pay for them. So yeah, completely free.
So I do see a hand up, but what I think we'll do is just move on, if it's okay, to Niall and Avril, and then we'll take questions both with digital hands and from the chat, if that's okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I'll just do a quick introduction for myself and how I'm involved with NHS Lothian. My colleague Niall will share the slides as we go through. But firstly, just to introduce myself, I'm Avril Stevenson. I'm the new project and digital manager for digital interventions for mental health. I'm recently started in this role. So it's all quite new to me as well, but my role is mainly to support and promote the digital health programmes for NHS Lothian and make awareness to a wide range of services and service users. The self-referral programme we're going to look at today is Silvercloud. So if you could bring up the first slide, please, Niall, that'd be great. So what is Silvercloud? So Silvercloud is a clinically proven online cognitive behavioural therapy programme, or CBT for short. This allows you to complete therapy in your own time and at your own pace. It offers secure and immediate access to the programmes, and it offers a range of mental health and wellbeing options, which you can work through your computer, laptop, or a mobile device. They are tried and tested modules, and within the programme there's a range of interactive tools and videos, and that helps support and challenge any negative thoughts that anyone might be having, and it also identifies any behavioural patterns. It also incorporates mindfulness and positive psychology, which is all very good. The CBT focuses on supporting your well-being. It manages your low mood, resilience, sleep, and stress. Some of the things that obviously Dan has mentioned there as well. So it is there as an everyday tool to help manage any issues with your well-being and help that improvement. You might be interested to hear that Silvercloud is actually the leading global provider for digital solutions and well-being. It is evidence-based, and it is another helpful, supportive access to therapy. Just on my next slide, thank you, Niall. So in order to actually work with Silvercloud, there is a broad set of suitability that needs to be met. You'll see there on the right-hand side. We'll just work through those. So you do have to have a level of distress as low to moderate. You have to have recent onset symptoms in order to complete the modules and make them ideal to what you're trying to achieve. You have to be able to formulate clear goals and have a reading age of 12. And also you have to have a preference for actually doing the online programme and have a basic IT literacy in order to achieve that. In order to sign up to Silvercloud, you'll need to have an email address and an internet-enabled device, again, as mentioned before, a laptop, mobile phone, or a tablet. It is a CBT-based programme, and it is highly effective and is there to help improve well-being. It's also suitable for people of many ages across the board. You'll see from on the slide, we have actually a site that you can access. It's a public site. It's called Ref Help. It's there to help wellbeing and self-management. We'll hold that there for a little time for you to note that down. As again, it's a free site and anyone can access that. Okay, Niall, do you want to go on to the next slide? Thank you. So, as I mentioned, I'm new within this role and I wanted to know more about our own digital products. So what I did prior to today, I registered with Silvercloud myself just to gain a bit of experience on what the self-referral programme entails. So you will be glad to hear it is a quick and easy registration. It's very user-friendly and it's very easy to navigate. It's easy on the eye and it's actually a really nice site to use. Because of this, it actually gives us as a service provider reassurance that anyone can use this who is referred and will find it a supportive and easy tool to use. So what are the programs that are available? So we have 4 modules that are available under self-referral for NHS Lothian. The first one we have is COVID-19, a program that helps you to manage your mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've certainly seen through data from March 2020, a high increase on referrals for people wanting to access these modules and get that help online, which is encouraging, and know that they can do it in their own time and within their own privacy. The next one we have is Resilience, a program that helps you achieve a sense of well-being in all areas of your life. Again, giving you tools to how to balance out that resilience of anything that you're going through. And Stress, which is a very high one on the agenda, is a program that helps you enhance your existing stress busting skills and also build new ones. So again, giving different strategies for any user going on and using the module. And finally, Sleep, another big one, just like what Dan was talking about. It's a program that teaches you skills overcoming sleep difficulties and achieve a better quality sleep. And this allows you to feel more refreshed and ready for the next day ahead. So the modules have been running for a few years, and it is evidence that they are a good, supportive and easy tool to use. When you do access the site, it does show quotes from previous service users. And I found these to be quite motivational, and certainly they will be supportive for any other user using the site. So I'm going to hand you over to Niall just now. He'll go more into the Silvercloud and how that's involved with the team for digital interventions.
Hi guys. Hopefully I've moved on to the other slide. Okay, we're using Zoom on the browser. And then I've got PowerPoint going, so hopefully you can see or hear me as well. Wee brief introduction for myself. So I might have spoken to some of you before. It's really great to see this many people from such a broad spectrum across Edinburgh. I don't think we spoke to such a broad spectrum that over 5 years I've been doing this. So I've been involved with CBT online, CBT in Lothian since we started doing it really January 2017. Obviously, the focus today is on these self-help modules. One thing I have put together is just some feedback on one specific module. So what I'm going to do very briefly is give you an overview of what Silvercloud say, and then we'll focus on some of the Lothian patients. Just as Avril mentioned there, the next slide's actually quotes from Silvercloud and then from some Lothian patients as well. So it's important to say, I guess, with the Silvercloud platform, it's type of therapy is not second best. So Silvercloud's, their evidence-based programs show 75% of their users report a decrease in depression and anxiety related problems when they've completed the online therapy. So 75% of people having completed it report that decrease in depression and anxiety, and up to 65% of them report significant clinical improvement for depression and anxiety, which is evidence within itself that the online computerized CBT is effective. Online CBT has been running in Scotland for close to 15 years, in the UK for a little bit longer. But obviously this self-help approach, the Sleepio Daylight, some of the other services that we run, as Dan was saying earlier, are run nationally because of the effectiveness, and we'll come on to obviously some of the benefits to that later. But I think just to focus on what I've got as a snapshot of obviously 2 years ago, there was a Wellbeing COVID-19 module. It's actually called Challenging Times, and it was added for anybody to use, whether they were using it for a clinical reason or for self-referral. So we encourage GPs to direct people to ourselves to be able to put people onto the website to get access to this module and anything else. Obviously, Avril's covered sleep, stress, and resilience as well. As you can see, the average length of time is probably about 15 to 20 minutes that people use the website for, but they'll use it in what we say is chunks. So people might be busy, but they'll have 15, 20 minutes to make a cup of tea, kids are in bed, they'll be able to log in. I'm sure it's the same as Sleepio and Daylight. There's an app, it's web-based as well. They can pull out the tablet, pull out in their phone, or some people prefer to log in for a bit longer on the computer. I guess the key bit there is the feedback that we've had from the patients who have used it. Obviously, the vast majority have found it to be agree that it was interesting, relevant, helpful, and helped them make progress. So that's specifically with the COVID-19. I'll just move on to the next slide, which is the quote. So on the left-hand side, as I was saying, that the quotes at Silvercloud, obviously a lot of the program is reassuring people that they're not the only person facing these things. But what we always say is the website is the same for everybody, but people need to approach it in different ways. So there's a lot of case study videos as people work their way through the programs to encourage them to maybe challenge how they're doing it and look at some examples where people have found some bits of it difficult and some people have overcome certain things. So it's quite forthright and honest in its approach, and see the feedback that we've had reflects it. So you can read the quotes for yourselves there, but I think a lot of it is basically making sure people are given the time. I think that would be the key thing, as mentioned earlier, is people completing the treatment, not just dipping their toe in the water, to make sure they've had the time to work their way through 15, 30, 45 minutes to an hour to make sure they've done the full learning, whether it's just one of the modules or indeed all four. They all take about 45 minutes to an hour to complete. But generally speaking, I guess the key thing for us and my team is we have very little technical difficulties. So people are able to access it. And again, Sleepio and Daylight's the same. People are able to access with the app as well. It's always good to know that people can go and use or download an app without having to rely on browser issues or video player if it's available through the app. So accessibility is a key thing we'll talk about shortly. I think just to circle back firstly to stress how people can access it. Now, maybe what we'll come to towards the end is if anyone themselves has accessed it or knows anyone that's accessed it. I know we were through NHS Lothian promoting the self-referral route as well as for Sleepio and Daylight. So these modules have, as you can see, been available since 2020. And we're hoping to get a Lothian specific code. That one is still active, Scotland 2020. So all people really need to sign up is an email address and a password. The full privacy information is available to them when they sign up if they want to read through it before they sign up. And obviously, if they have any questions before they sign up, they can get in touch with ourselves. And there is the mental health and chronic health modules. So there's a link to the similar page, the ref help page, the referral help page Avril mentioned. If clinicians wanted to refer in, so for example, GP or mental health nurse who was involved with the clinical care of the patient. I know I speak to a conversation with the Marie Curie nurse the other day about how someone could access one of the specific modules available there. The self-referral side of things, people access, within 5 minutes of speaking to you, they can go and access it through that link with that code. What we provide is a link from us adding their email to the website and then monitor the progress. But there's a bit more information on the RefHelp website there for that side of things. I guess just to summarize maybe the benefits, I've talked a little bit about the accessibility. The key thing, as I mentioned, is people can literally get off the phone, or if you're lucky, you may be seeing people face to face now, they can go and access it when they get 5 minutes to sign up. And then it's a case of, I guess, them logging in when they feel they need to. As I say, the average 15-20 minutes at a time, if not longer. If obviously the doorbell goes and they're a few minutes in, they can come back and pick it up later. They're tailored to various areas. So obviously the other parts of the website, there's mental health, there's chronic conditions, as well as these general wellbeing modules. We've over a dozen treatments at the minute. So we, as the digital interventions team, would support any NHS Lothian patient, staff member. We are the bulk of the work we do is non-clinical, as I say, technical support to get people, motivate people. We know the websites back to front, so we can help people engage with it. And our satisfaction outcome at the minute overall with Silvercloud and Lothian is actually 91% for the other modules that we run. I guess it's key to stress what the Silvercloud program is not. That obviously summarize the benefits there, but it's a great program for helping people mild to moderate mental health difficulties, and not a second best option, supported through the evidence-based program. We're always, with the digital intervention team, we're not just focusing on CBT, so expanding and look at the ways to continue to improve the service through data and feedback from our service users. And obviously how that's changed in the last 2 years. The interactions that we have with patients is a lot different pre-COVID to post-COVID. And we're implementing wellbeing workers to support with the engagement. So we'll actually have wellbeing workers who have the time to contact patients specifically based on the modules that they're doing, to provide a more direct piece of support, a bit more expertise, a bit more clinical awareness. And I guess with the overview itself, in terms of the website, we'll put the links again at the bottom. What I would say is, as Avril's mentioned, if you guys want to fancy signing up yourselves, the link and the information is there, as Sleepio and Daylight. The options are there to sign up. You choose one of the 4 modules that you want to start with. If you want to have a nosy at one, if there was one in particular. We have information that we're putting onto the Lothian Wellbeing website. So we're trying to make sure there's a hub of information. As you might imagine, these things constantly needing updated and refreshed and adding new content all the time. So if there is anything that's relevant or you might feel needs to be added, obviously it's being recorded as well. If there's any questions that anyone has, not on the meeting, they can get in contact with us as well. If there's anything about the Silvercloud treatments or any of the other CBT treatments that we offer online, that comes through me and my team at Digital Interventions.